Negotiation. I'm their media strategist and I help them with some things as well. And I'll just show you, we sent something out the other day. I was talking to the manager there, she was telling me about an urban design contest they've got. And she just had a couple of little random photographs on the entry form that she showed me. I said, oh, where's that? I haven't seen that. And she said, oh, that's in San Francisco. That's these little parklets that they have everywhere. I said, oh, what's a parklet? And she said, oh, it's like a mini park. And they just put them where, you know, two roads join up or when you want to differentiate one space to another. It's really just a matter of providing a little respite area, even if it's for, you know, a dozen people. It just sort of breaks up an urban landscape. And I said, look, I really like that idea. You know, you send that out to the media and see where you get. And so the next day, whammo, that was on Ideologue. Because it says something different. Doesn't the headline say it all? So that was an urban design competition. How many competitions are there in Auckland at any one time? How many urban design competitions are there? There's a lot. But we chose something different. We just picked the eyes out of it. So it's about taking the most interesting fact and putting it at the beginning, in the headline and in the first story, and then watching the media uptake from that. So, targeted emails for specific journalists where there's, you know, a story that you think would particularly suit that kind of media. But a more general big announcement, press release, milestone can go out to a number of different outlets. So, imagine it. You contacted them. This won't be all of you straight away, but you never know. You contacted the media. And they say, yes, you know, we like you. We like the sound of it. We're coming round to see you. Well, most of you would have said, look, you can interview me, you know, by my planter boxes or, you know, when I'm picking up elderly people that can't get to the shop or whatever. But sometimes you will be called in for a TV interview. So, what do you need to do? Well, obviously, you need to be right up to date with what the latest information is. And I say to people, look, have an anecdote rather than a great big folder of facts and figures. That's the journalist's job, to write that into the story. Your job is to flesh it out and make it.
Now, I'll just give you an example of this. Well, I was doing some media training in the Waikato, and there was a woman on the course, and she'd been involved in a road safety program, and it was directed at the sort of 19 to 25 age group. And the idea was to kind of cut down the shocking statistics, you know what the way was like, you know, all the crashes and
deaths and carnage that seems to be happening there.
You know, she'd been working away on this, and you know, she was sort of brimmed with all these statistics. So we sat down and I said, okay, right, Tina, tell me what you're doing. And I said, okay, so how successful has this project been? Well, Louise, you know, it's been fantastically successful. A quarterly review of our monthly statistics showed a 20% drop in the target age group of 19 to 25 year olds, so we're applying for a 40% increase in our funding from the JCSB Trust. I mean, how many of you remember what I just said? I said, nobody will remember a thing. Let's try that again. Have you got a story about one person that would illustrate that? Just what said. Yeah, I have. So I said, so how do you know that this program has been successful? Well, I had a ring from a mother the other night, and she said when her son's rugby league team, they go to practice a couple of times a week, there hasn't been a single accident in the 6 months that that program has been running. So we're really thrilled about that. See the difference, can't you? One story, one mother, one
league team. We know that program's been successful. We didn't need all those facts. We just want to know about one person and what it means to them. And you help that journalist in their role being a storyteller. Just a little tip at the end, only offer journalists something on the...
Yeah, it just is so vital that you do that. I must tell you something ghastly that happened to my father. He's in his 90s and he's a very charming, gallant man that looks, says anything nasty. And he was being interviewed. He's got a good sense of humour, this is actually relevant to the story. He was being interviewed about a former dance school in Dunedin called Miss Wallace's Dance School. I think the Otago Daily Times was doing a sort of an historic sort of reminiscing series, and Dad, this young journalist, knew that Dad had been at Miss Wallace's Dance School because she was with my sister. So she said, look, can I come up to the house and get some information about Miss Wallace and the dance? Oh yes, said Dad, that'd be great. Let's tell me a good story. So, welcome Nicola, how are you? And we chatted away and how much time she's going. And then she said something like, well, what was Miss Wallace like? And Dad said, oh, she could hardly dance. It was like dancing with a sack of potatoes. Bad choice of words when you're talking to a journalist. And he was horrified when he opened the ODT. Yes, you're right. Dance teacher like sack of potatoes says So just please beware that when you give a journalist something, make sure you are happy to read that on the front page of the paper. And another couple of points there, always don't ever badmouth anybody. I mean, that just looks absolutely ghastly. Take that opportunity to say, we're different. We're different because we do this, and our customers like this. Our customers tell us this. And then you don't need to say anything about anyone. People are more and more looking for this, and it's great we've been able to provide the need. So yes, just be careful of that kind of trap for the unwary, you might say. So journalist information on the record. So talking to the media, you have to be ready. Now, the other thing that I wanted to talk about is responding to stories. Because there are lots of stories going on in the media that you might have a fresh example, a new angle on. As I said, a story starts one day, but radio needs to fill a bulletin every hour. Now, I work in a radio newsroom, and we are not allowed to have the same news bulletin on at 9 o'clock that we ran at 8 o'clock. Why? Because nobody would listen to radio. They're not getting news at all. They're not getting anything new. They're getting the same thing. So journalists are always looking for updates on a story that is currently running. Now, let me give you a good example of this recently. How many people would like to be brave and remember the pronunciation of that Icelandic volcano? If you were lucky, you weren't in the newsroom at 6 o'clock in the morning having to pronounce it, Laurel. Aiafaiayoko. Yeah, I know. I had to say it numerous times at 6 in the morning. It wasn't easy. Okay, when that kept blowing its stack, it hugely affected air traffic in the Northern Hemisphere. Now, that provided some fantastic business opportunities for New Zealand businesses who were able to freight things to Asia that weren't being able to be flown out from Europe. And I was really surprised that not a lot of businesses cottoned onto this. Every day we'd have the same story from a company that produced salmon in the Marlborough Sounds. I mean, they must have a fantastic PR person. So, on the Monday there was a story about the fact that, okay, I can't remember if it was Regal or King Salmon, let's say it was King Salmon in Marlborough, has been fielding inquiries from Asian suppliers not able to get their usual salmon from Scandinavia, and so they are looking at how they can get more salmon to them. On Tuesday, TV crews were invited to go out on boats while they were looking for more salmon and harvesting more salmon. Okay, no other businesses cottoned on to this fabulous media opportunity. So on Wednesday, TV crews were invited in to see the night shift working and doing extra